Is everyone ready to go? Are we sure?
Okay.
Stand by, please. Going live in three, two, one.
Start the clock.
Cue and out.
Live from the Health Sciences District, we welcome you to our studios at University Health, Kansas City's Essential Hospital. Now here's Keith King.
Europe meets North Africa as Algeria faces off with Austria on the world stage. Good morning, everyone. I'm Keith King with University Health, and welcome to Healthy Goals, our live YouTube show where we talk all things World Cup soccer, the wins, the losses, the bumps, and the bruises after each matchup. Joining me live this morning in our studio is Dr. Scott Llewellyn, University Health orthopedic surgeon who specializes in sports medicine. He is also a team doctor with Sporting Kansas City. And Dr. Stephanie Ellison, a University Health physician specializing in emergency medicine. When people are in need of care, Dr. Ellison and the emergency department team are the ones you want on your side. She also teaches and trains the next generation of doctors. Coming up this morning, we break down this weekend's big matchup, Algeria versus Austria. It was predicted to be Kansas City's most intense World Cup group stage match yet, and it did not disappoint. We also take you inside FanFest. Kansas City is going all out at the National World War I Museum and Memorial for the World Cup size celebration. Our Leslie Carto will join us with everything you need to know before you go. This week, we're also celebrating America's 250th birthday. That means fireworks and big crowds across the region. But with the fun comes risk. Tips to help you avoid a trip to the emergency department. Plus, the heat and humidity are no joke, especially for expectant moms. We have simple, important tips to help moms-to-be stay safe in the summer heat. Finally, if you're a member of the media or you're watching us live, we want to hear from you. Email us your questions at publicrelations@uhkc.org. Again, publicrelations@uhkc.org, and be part of the conversation. Okay, let's bring in our guests this morning, Drs. Llewellyn and Dr. Ellison. Thank you both for being here and starting your Monday with us. We appreciate it. Dr. Llewellyn, let's start with you. Okay, Algeria versus Austria on Saturday night. It ended 3-3 in a tie. It is being called one of the wildest finishes of the 2026 World Cup games. Fans certainly got their money's worth. What's your take on it?
It was an incredible match, two come from behind goals by Algeria, and then Austria, of course, scoring the equalizer in extra time. I mean, it doesn't get more dramatic than that.
Mm-hmm. And it's quite a chess game because now they both advance. Do you want to talk about kind of what's coming up next there?
Well, I believe Austria is matching up with Spain at the next match. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure who Algeria plays next, but
I think is it Switzerland? Did I hear that
think
right?
that's right. I think
Okay.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, they both faced elimination if they lost, and but the fact that they drew, they got to both go through, which was incredible.
So now, things are really getting serious now with World Cup. How does this change the way team doctors approach player care? Because I'm assuming you have players now who want to continue to play through any injuries.
Yes, yeah. So the load management is a big factor. A good example of that was Norway versus France. Everybody was very excited about that matchup between Mbappe and Erling Haaland, or two of the best soccer players in the world. And Norway took the approach of resting 10 of their 11 starters, which was a bit of a disappointment for the fans, but they were just being smart because they knew they were through the group, and they knew their next matchup, if they make it through the next round, was going to be either Germany or Brazil, which are two formidable foes, and so they didn't think they had a significant opportunity to win this game anyway. France is a very difficult opponent, and they didn't think the upside was worth playing their starters, and so they rested 10 of their 11 starters. Now France, on the other hand, they did play all their players, but they have more of a possession game and are able to dial back how they play, and they have less fatigue in that with that method of play, and so So they went ahead and played their starters, and the results obviously reflected that with
Sure.
the way they dominated.
It's such a chess match. We were talking about this earlier on how these teams will make their decisions and the strategy behind it.
Absolutely. The kind of the magic number is 4 days for
Mhm.
rest to fully recover. They've done a number of studies on this, and when they measure inflammatory markers and muscle damage markers, you usually recover in 4 days, but 3 days, which is what the turnaround time was for Norway,
Mhm.
you haven't fully recovered. And
Right.
and especially if you've got some older players that it's even more important for them to get some rest and manage their load.
Yeah. So how much does the risk of injury increase as we continue through this tournament?
It's fatigue plays a huge role in injury. In fact, the majority of injuries occur in the final 15 minutes of the half in a soccer match, and
Mhm.
that's because of the fatigue. Between muscle injuries and even ACL injuries, we don't have that protective strength. Those non-contact injuries can also increase with fatigue, and so that's why it's very important to manage the load.
Yeah. And now this week, heat is going to be the big story. Temperatures are getting into the 90s. I mean, summer has arrived, and also there's an excessive heat warning or heat advisory, rather, all this week. With thousands of World Cup fans here in Kansas City, we have Fan Fest, we have July 4th celebrations. Uh, is there any way for you to predict how busy you are expecting the next few days?
It's gonna be busy. Yeah, because the heat's finally rolled in, and we've been lucky. We've had some nice weather coming into this, but the hot, humid heat is coming, and we have visitors to our great city.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how much experience they have with fireworks, so I'm a little worried.
Sure. Yeah. So talk to me about some of during a typical July 4th, what are some of your common injuries that you are used to seeing and treating here?
Yeah. Yeah, so mostly fireworks related injuries and then followed by heat illness are common for us. So most of the time with fireworks, the injuries are to the hands, to the face, and to the eyes are our bigger injuries, and those are can be very devastating. So just safe firework use and some tips I think are really helpful.
Mhm.
And then with the heat related illness, just watching your alcohol intake,
Mm.
making sure that you're hydrating and not trying to hydrate with alcohol. It's not an effective fluid to hydrate with.
So, in on each of our episodes of Healthy Goal, we always talk about how busy we have been treating those individuals who are coming here because they are in town for a World Cup. Do you have the latest numbers on those?
Yes. Yes. So as of Friday, so not including this past weekend, about 20 to 25 patients have identified they're here in town or were at a World Cup event. Most of those were ankle sprains, some heat related illness. I think there was an appendicitis. Just
Mhm.
that just happens. It's not
Right.
related to the World Cup.
Sure.
And we did do a cold immersion for a patient who
Mm.
was out in the heat for a prolonged period of time, dehydrated, and had a very high temperature.
Mhm. All right. Well, the heat, we're looking ahead at our next match, and it will be warm at Arrowhead come Friday night. The next match is round of 32, Colombia versus Ghana. I asked ChatGPT what's the expected temperature supposed to be at 8:30 Friday night, 90 to 91 degrees. From the player's perspective, what will that be like playing in those warm temperatures for what, 90 minutes to 2 hours?
Right. It is. That's fairly oppressive heat, and
Mhm.
so the water breaks that they've been mandating are actually going to be well utilized for this one. They've not been met with a lot of enthusiasm with these other games because they've been doing water breaks on every game.
Mhm.
And typically in Major League Soccer, the goal is to take a water break if necessary. They measure wet bulb globe temperature before the match, and if it's above a certain threshold, they take a water break. But with the World Cup, they've elected to go ahead and take water breaks for every match, and that's going to very much be needed on Friday. So I think that leading up to the match, they're going to want to make sure that they are well rested before the match. Uh, they have to have a very high level of fitness, which obviously that had to happen. In the weeks leading up to the World Cup, so they've already addressed that presumably, and then they're going to make very good use of those hydration breaks. Try and cool down with some ice towels, get some electrolytes, get the fluid, and they're probably going to have to do some subbing if necessary. There's probably going to be some maybe some cramping issues perhaps that tends to increase with a increased temperature as well,
Sure.
and so sometimes those players have to be subbed out.
So, so you touched on cramping issues, but obviously soccer players cover a lot of ground in 90 minutes of play. What kind of stress does that put on the body? Yeah, yeah, again, we're talking top athletes here, but still,
Right,
what?
right.
Talk to me a little bit about the stress factor.
It's a tremendous amount of stress that the midfielders, for example, they may cover 8 to 9 miles in the course of a match, and this is not
Mm,
like jogging. This is like they're all out sprinting. It's like interval running, and so it's a tremendous stress to the body, and so that does increase the fatigue component we touched on earlier as far as performance. That they start to lose their level of performance with fatigue, and also it increases their injury risk.
mhm,
And then with cramping, it's important to be hydrated, but cramping is actually the mechanism it's a sort of involuntary contraction of the muscle due to a mismatch between your excitatory and inhibitory nerve system when you're fatigued, and
mhm,
so that's why you see when a player goes down with cramps. Oftentimes, another player or the trainer will go out and actually stretch the muscle that's cramping,
mhm.
and that helps to inhibit that excitatory uh, mechanism, and they can go ahead and continue to play oftentimes if they stretch out properly. But sometimes that doesn't cut it, and in that case, the player may have to be subbed out.
Are there early warning signs that the team doctors look for that the general public might not notice?
There are some subtle things that if someone is after a collision or something like that, they things that you sort of watch for, or if they're shaking an extremity, obviously if they're limping, sometimes if their acceleration, they have to change direction, that it takes them longer to react. Things like that, and then with head injuries, that's one other thing that we really try to focus on. If someone has had a head collision and they're deemed to still be safe to stay in with the neuro checks and the exertional challenge, you still keep an eye on those people, because if they start they do blinking, or they start grabbing their head or looking at the ground or things like that, that's the sort of thing that indicates that they may still have some ongoing, or they're developing some problems.
Yeah. So, from the fans' perspective, we have a few days now where there's a break at FanFest. It kicks back up. I believe it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday coming up. Again, a big holiday weekend here in Kansas City and across the nation. Many people will be spending hours outdoors at FanFest and other types of family gatherings. What are some things that people can do to avoid having to see you and your staff in the ED? What are some things that they can do?
Yeah, my motto's been be safe and have fun, but think of safety first if
Mm,
possible. Staying hydrated is the key. And it's a lot of great eating, time together with family, and some children. So make sure you have a safety plan for them. Hydrating throughout the day is going to help. Staying cool and having those options to stay in the shade or go into an air conditioned environment if possible, throughout the day, just so that you're not getting this heat stress the entire day.
mhm. And we were talking earlier about the temperature inside Arrowhead that's predicted for this Friday. Again, 90 to 91 degrees. For fans who are in that one space, do you have any recommendations on what they should do to be prepared for spending a long period of time there?
Yeah. Circulating air is very helpful. So try to take a fan, take enough water that you can not only just rehydrate by drinking it, but that you can cool your face with it using a handkerchief or something to wet your skin and allowing that fan to help your natural evaporation of that heat. Our sweating, we rely on quite a bit, but in a crowded area where there's a lot of people close together and not a lot of circulating air, that's not going to help a lot. And then we predictably are going to be a humid heat.
Mhm.
And so your own evaporation and ability to disseminate that heat and get rid of that heat is altered. So making sure you're fanning yourself and that your primary beverage is something that's going to rehydrate you, like water, your electrolyte solution, Gatorade, and try to limit the alcohol intake. It is
Sure.
not going to help very
Right.
much. It dehydrates you.
Yeah. When it comes to July 4th, what is, I think I know the answer to this, but what is the one injury that is always preventable?
The fireworks injuries, just having a really good safety plan that an adult, a sober adult, is managing the fireworks, and that there's a dedicated area for that, and then a plan for watching the kids. That these are things we see in the air. What's happening on the ground's not of interest. So sit back, let's enjoy the fireworks in the air. And there are fireworks that are legal, making sure they're legal because they're much safer. Having a bucket of water nearby in case something there's a mishap, it tips over, you're ready to the adult's able to put it in the water and extinguish it. So the fireworks injuries, just having a good plan is the most helpful thing.
Okay. All right. Great advice. Great information. Dr. Llewellyn, Dr. Ellison, thank you both. Stay there. I've got a couple more questions here for you in just a moment. But first, we want to continue our conversation about FanFest. It's drawing thousands to Kansas City. The celebration is just blocks from University Health. Emergency responders and police are there to help. And our Leslie Cardo recently visited FanFest with Kansas City Police Department's Jake Pekina to find out how fans can receive care if they need it.
Hi, I'm Leslie Carter reporting from the heart of Kansas City at FIFA Fan Fest. Your health and safety are always our priority, so we want to talk about keeping you safe when you head out here. Joining us now, Captain Jake Pekina from Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. You've been on the force 22 years, a lot of experience. Anything compared to this?
This is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, overall events that we've ever had here in Kansas City. We've had single-day events similar, but the totality of it is by far the biggest.
We talked about the amount of police law enforcement here. Not just Kansas City. Talk to me, who's here?
All over the Midwest. Every state that borders Missouri has sent some officers here to help us with this, to secure this event. It's way more officers than we have just in Kansas City that it's going to take to secure this event.
Wanted to talk about health and safety. Kansas City's humidity is not doing anyone any favors, but if you're not feeling well, who should I look out for? Who can I run to if I know I really need help?
There is a large contingent of police officers as well as EMS, fire department personnel. All of them are stationed in zones around the Fan Fest. There are 3 medical tents plus a full DMAT hospital-like tent that is also on site here.
So you don't have police officers that can get you health-related needs, do you?
We are all connected by radio, and we can radio for help, and they have mobile units that can respond for emergency medical treatment quick and efficiently.
Now, Captain, you know that one of the tricks of staying cool in the summer are light layers and light colors, which you don't have the option of, but any other tips for people who are headed out here to make sure that they don't have heat exhaustion?
Biggest thing, there's cooling stations here, there's water refilling stations. You can get a clear plastic bottle, refill it as many times as you want, drink lots of water, find the shade, find the cooling tents, refresh yourself, and then come back out and watch these games and these concerts.
Lots of public transportation, that's wonderful, but not all of Kansas City is used to public transportation. We were lucky we could just walk over from University Health. If you're parked far, the mom in me says walk in a group. What are some other thoughts?
Yeah, biggest thing, walk in a group, stay together with your friends. Don't leave valuables in your car. We are asking everyone to please secure your valuables at home, in your trunk, and I got to do it because I'm a police officer. Firearms, please leave those at home. They are not safe in vehicles, and obviously they're not allowed inside the FanFest.
With a lot of great helpful information. I won't ask you to pick a winner overall. Those brackets are hard, but thank you again for joining us. Thanks for joining us to get a sneak peek inside FIFA Fan Fest. Reporting for University Health Kansas City's Central Hospital, I'm Leslie Cardo, along with photojournalist Jason Samioa.
All right, Leslie, thank you very much for that. Let's bring in our guests this morning again, Dr. Scott Llewellyn and Dr. Stephanie Ellison here at University Health. A couple more questions real quick. We have talked a lot about the professional soccer players and the importance of rest time. Parents may be watching. Obviously, soccer is very popular with children. What can you tell us about kids playing soccer? How long should they rest in between matches and practices?
That's a very good question. It's always a challenge because oftentimes, like my daughter grew up playing soccer, played soccer in college. And so she did a lot of club soccer tournaments, and the tournaments are usually conducted on the weekend. So they're cramming all these games into 2 days, And so, in general, the goal is to try to space the games apart by at least 2 or 3 hours.
Mhm.
And people say, well, these professional guys, they said they got to wait more than 3 days, but
Right.
their games are shorter, and so that does help and enable them to play more than one game in a day. But if they do have to stack up, games, like for example, if a team goes to one of these tournaments and they wind up going to the championship game, they may play 4 or even sometimes 5 games on a weekend. And so after you've completed a tournament, you should get a good 48 hours before you really play again. You should do recovery for a couple of days, try to, and after you play, do a cool down, walk,
Mhm.
stretch, rehydrate, all those types of things.
Kids are able to bounce back quickly, but it's important that they get in quality rest time, obviously.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Of course, the next match that you're excited for keeping, we'll be watching is USA versus Bosnia. That happens on Wednesday. What are your thoughts leading into this?
It's an interesting matchup. With the U.S. took the same approach Norway did as far as resting starters in their last game. They played Turkey, which I guess is Turkey A. I didn't know that till this World Cup, but they played Turkey and wound up losing that match. But they still won the group. They still went through, and that was their trade off. They said we rested our starters. They lost the game largely because they didn't have their starters. I'm assuming, not that their second team isn't good, but their starters are starters for a reason, And so, but they've got a lot of firepower, striking firepower. The U.S. does. Bosnia, from what I've researched, is more they sort of they lock down defensively, try to counterattack, quickly. Their striker is 40 years old.
Mhm.
Their star striker is 40 years old. So that's it's incredible. These 35 to 40-year-olds are still playing at a very high level. But
Not uncommon.
yeah, it's anything can happen in one of these matches. I
Mhm.
mean, look at Cape Verde and Spain.
Mhm.
They tied. And no one saw that coming. And so they have to really take it serious and come out both guns blazing.
Yeah. Dr. Ellison, one more question for you. Again, we've been talking a lot this morning. We've got a big holiday weekend coming up, 3 days of Fan Fest as well. What is, I want to say one piece of advice, but what is your best advice for people to have fun and to stay safe at the same time?
Yes. Stay hydrated. I think we've stressed that a lot, and making sure their electrolyte solution as a way to hydrate. Have an adult in charge who's sober, and have a plan for the kids.
Yeah.
And so you can celebrate, and it's going to be long, fantastic days together, but check in, make sure everyone's eating and drinking, staying hydrated. And when you're getting warm, find a cool place to go. Make sure that you have those moments to cool off, just like our athletes are restoring. We need to celebrate safely and get somewhere cool and rehydrate.
Yeah. Well, I hope you both have a great holiday coming up. We certainly appreciate you spending part of your morning with us here this morning. Dr. Ellison, Dr. Llewellyn, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up, when he is not helping out patients here at University Health, he is cheering for his favorite team, especially this weekend. You will meet Dr. Malik Mahmoudi, rather. I apologize there. Again, Dr. Malik Mahmoudi, Algeria's super fan, coming up next.
For early appointments and late night care, for the moment you find out it's a girl, to the first time you hold her hand. With advanced maternity care, on-site level 3 NICU, and access to level 4 NICU, University Health is the one for you. At University Health, we're teaching Kansas City what it means to care. Through the power of academic medicine, teaching can bring more minds to our patients. It solves some of the most complex medical cases in the city. And it provides hope to those who need it most. How can we care for all of Kansas City? Teaching can. University Health.
While thousands of fans filled the stadium, one University Health doctor had a special connection to this weekend's World Cup action. Dr. Malik Mahmoudi, a native of Algeria, was excited to watch his home country take the pitch in Kansas City. Before the match, KCTV5 spoke to Dr. Mahmoudi about his World Cup excitement.
Dr. Malik Mahmoudi's youngest once wore an Algeria kit to learn the alphabet.
Soccer for Algerians is very, very important. It's almost an obsession.
It's a long story, but it's connected to a clandestine soccer team during the 1958 War for Independence from France.
People, breathe soccer. They live soccer. I'm expecting that the next day post-game, if Algeria wins against Argentina, it would be a national day off in the whole country.
It wouldn't be the first time Algeria surprised the world with a win over a champion team. In 1982, before any of these players were even born, Algeria beat Germany during the very first year that they qualified. Until this year, Mahmoudi's never had a chance to see the team play in person.
Not only we're hosting the World Cup, but Algeria is playing, and their home base is here in Kansas City. Pretty impressive. So I consider myself pretty lucky.
He says there are more Algerians in Kansas City than you might realize. This is Kansas City's all-ages Algerian team playing Brazil in the city's annual amateur world competition. He expects only about 1,000 fans coming in from Algeria, but there will still be an international presence.
Definitely from France, from England, and Canada. Mostly because they do not need visas.
He's keeping his cool for now, but as the excitement and nerves ramp up, he may be tapping his own expertise as a gastroenterologist. Are you going to be getting any ulcers when you're watching?
Probably. I'm going to take an antacid before the game.
Betsy Webster, KCTV5 News.
The summer heat can be tough on anyone, but especially if you're pregnant. We'll share expert tips to help moms-to-be stay safe when the temperatures soar. Plus, sunscreen is just the start. Learn how to protect your skin and lower your risk of sun damage all summer long. Stay with us.
For early appointments and late night care, for the moment you find out it's a girl to the first time you hold her hand. With advanced maternity care, on-site level 3 NICU, and access to level 4 NICU, University Health is the one for you. At University Health, we're teaching Kansas City what it means to care. Through the power of academic medicine, teaching can keep providers one step ahead of clinical advancements. It puts innovations into practice, and it helps write the next chapter in medicine. How can we care for all of Kansas City? Teaching can. University Health.
World Cup soccer, 4th of July festivities, and plenty of sunshine. If you're spending time outdoors this summer, protecting your skin should be part of the game plan. University Health dermatologist Dr. Michael Siskos, a skin cancer specialist, shares the top 5 things you can do to reduce your risk and stay safe in the sun.
Step number 1 is early detection and early intervention. Usually if we catch the skin cancer early enough, then it has not become more invasive or metastasized or spread. And usually at that point we can cure it with just surgery and it's gone. Sunscreen is definitely a vital step. We recommend typically a broad spectrum sunscreen of an SPF of 30 or greater. I think most people are pretty good about applying initially, but then making sure that you're reapplying is the key, and I think a lot of people forget that. So reapplying at least every 2 hours, or if you're working out in the sun and you're sweating profusely, or you're swimming, or you're just constantly wet and that's washing the sunscreen off, then you want to apply it much more often. Step number 3 to preventing is avoiding the sun at its peak hours. So usually we'll say to stay out of the sun between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. because that's when its ultraviolet index will be the highest. So if you can avoid the sun during those hours, definitely avoid tanning beds. It is not a good healthy condition to be in for your skin, and over time that does increase the risk of skin cancer, including melanoma. Because I have seen quite a few, even teenagers and adolescents that have skin cancer from presumably tanning and just being out in the sun quite a bit. Certainly checking your skin. If you notice a mole that's changing in size, shape, or color, That's typically what we'll tell our patients. If you notice anything strange or anything that's bleeding on its own or changing, then it's important to come in and be seen. So checking your skin at home is good, doing even just like monthly skin checks and making sure nothing's changing. But of course, coming in and seeing your dermatologist as well is very important.
To make an appointment with one of our expert dermatologists, call 816-307-9571. Again, the number 816-307-9571. The summer heat can be especially tough to take if you are pregnant. Moms-to-be run a higher risk of heat-related illnesses like heat stroke. University Health family medicine physician Miranda Wynn explains how to protect yourself from the heat while pregnant.
So in pregnancy, you already run hotter than other people who aren't pregnant. So since we're already running hotter, the heat exposure and the heat tolerance is different in pregnancy. So if we're already running hotter, we're increased our risk of heat stroke, dizziness, fatigue, things like that, being dehydrated faster because we already need to be more hydrated in pregnancy. And pregnant women need to drink at minimum about 64 ounces of water. So if you're sweating that out, we gotta work even harder to drink even more. So to stay cool outside, because obviously if you have littles or you want some vitamin D, which is good for you, or some exercise, light, loose-fitting clothing, having a game plan as to staying hydrated or staying mostly in the shade when possible, knowing your limits. When you start having symptoms such as headache, dehydration, sweating, cramping, things like that, I would say it's time to kind of go inside and take a break from the heat. So this summer, stay cool, stay hydrated, protect yourself from overheating, which includes loose fit clothing, making sure you have ice cold water nearby, and planning your day to arrange yourself from staying in the direct heat for far too long. Looking out for signs and symptoms of overheating, which includes dizziness, headache, maybe even increasing nausea, fatigue, things like that. Go ahead and go inside and stay safe this summer.
To schedule an appointment with one of our family medicine physicians, call 816-307-2038. Again, that number 816-307-2038. Our next episode of Healthy Goals will be 1 week from today. We're back on Monday, July 6th at 8 a.m. We hope you have a safe and happy July 4th weekend. And finally, don't forget to hit that like button, or as the kids say, smash that like button and subscribe to University Health's YouTube channel. From all of us here at University Health, we hope your day is full of big saves, great goals, and plenty of cheers. Have a great week, everyone.